Hello friends, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video, first video 2020. Happy New Year everybody. I hope the celebrations for the new year were good and most of all the hangover was not too bad. For the first video 2020 I decided to start with a tutorial of a technique that I learned from SWEELY. You can actually find a video in which SWEELY explains this technique, but it's in French. It's not so high the video quality, so I thought about making a more step-by-step tutorial on this super simple but super creative technique that I just started using in my projects. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, by the way, this video is sponsored by the North Face. Never stop exploring. Just kidding, I forgot to move the bag from the background. Okay, let's get started. So the technique is really simple. It's done with just the Ableton stock effects and MIDI effects, and it consists on taking a drum loop or a percussions loop, and then you apply to it a vocoder, and then the vocoder is modulated by an external synth. So in this case it's an operator, but it can be anything. So this is the sound we're starting with. It's just a simple drum loop. And this is the sound we end up with. So I think this is perfect for creating a sort of percussive texture or a rhythmic background. Okay, how do we do that? So first of all, we need the carrier. The carrier is what modulates the vocoder. So we start with the operator. Let me switch off all these MIDI effects. So I just created a long note like this, and the operator is set to a sine wave which modulates another user-defined wave, and the sounds is like this. Oops. Okay, so just a single note. Then I started to apply the MIDI effects. You could write down the notes one by one, so like this. But since I'm really lazy and since the technique explained by SWEELY used the MIDI effects, I use the MIDI effects. So arpeggiator first is just switching between two notes, one an octave higher than the other. Then apply the random MIDI effects. You can copy the settings. I just use the random sequence synced to the tempo of the track at 1/16th rate, and you can tweak the other parameters and see what happens. Then the randomizer make the notes change a little bit more in a random way, like this. Then since I want the track to be in scale, I use the scale plugin, and I use the scale effect, MIDI effect, and this effect basically make the randomizer play just the notes that are in the scale that I set. So this is a Lydian augmented scale. Then I changed a little bit of the steps because I didn't like how it sounds at the beginning. So you see it's playing just this 1, 2 and 3 notes because the randomizer is playing other notes, but it took the wrong notes and it moves them to the closer right note on the scale, okay? Then the velocity effect changed in a random way the velocity of the notes played by the arpeggiator, and this is linked to the amount of this waveform. As you can see, to the oscillator level, it's linked to the velocity, so you can see that it switches from just sine wave to this more complex waveform. And that's it. So once you have this synth set, you can of course change all the change the type of sound, change the arpeggiator and all the other effects parameters. So there are a lot of options. But once you've set this, I went to the vocoder and I changed the carrier from noise, which is the default setting, to external. And then here you choose the audio source, so it's from the operator. And now the operator is modulating the vocoder. So it happens something like this. So you move from this sound to this one. And then you can change all the parameters, for example, the dry wet or the depth, attack, formant. This is more on the high frequencies, release, and a lot other parameters. Then I applied an auto filter because I wanted to narrow down the frequency range. And this is it for the vocoder technique. So you have your sound from the operator, and of course you have a lot of options here in terms of type of sound. So you can choose, I choose the operator. You can do any sounds with the operator, but you could choose another kind of synth, for example, for an external plugin that you have. Anything, it's good. And here another thing that really affect the sounds and the result is the notes that you play. So in this case I'm playing a certain sequence, but you could play another sequence, you could use another scale, you could write down the notes one by one, as I told you. So you have many options that you can choose from. The other thing that really affects the result is, of course, the drum loop that you choose. You could choose a drum loop, you could choose a percussions loop, but also you can choose a sound loop. I mean, it doesn't have to be something percussive. And another tip, another technique that I learned from that SWEELY masterclass is a technique with the grain delay. Once you've set all the parameters here, you go to the loop, and on the envelope section you go to grain delay, dry wet, and you start moving the dry wet from 0% to 100% whenever you want. So I could do another one here, I don't know. You could try anything you want, and when you play it, and this creates this variation, which is really good, really interesting. You could do this with any parameter of the grain delay, for example, with the time delay, with the randomness, with the beat swing, with anything. And this is so cool. So even here, options are a lot, are infinite. And here I throw in a bunch of loops just to hear how it can sound in a, you know, in a track. Okay. So if I want to play a bass line now, let's try to Okay, so as you could see, it's a really simple technique. You can experiment a lot with parameters, with effects, with different notes, different synth sounds, and different drum loops. You can come up with really good idea, and let me know what you think. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you loved it, subscribe to the channel. That would be really cool. Also, I have an Instagram in which I post a lot of studio stuff, so if you want to follow me, you find the link down below. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video and have a nice day. Ciao.